Hello, my name is Louis Almeida. I'm the teacher and student on the ideas of Spinoza and Gurdjieff. Today I'm going to talk about the difference between your true intelligence and the ego memory. Now, we all have an ego. It's important that we do. Otherwise, you cannot survive and live in society. And you grew up in a family that communicated the ego state. And what is the ego state? The ego state believes in free will. It expresses all the senses, 5 senses: the taste, the smell, the sight, the hearing, and I think the touch. 5. And those 5 senses gives us information about existence. So sight we see, and the ears we hear. Those 2 senses is where we really gather knowledge from the environment you grew up in, or we all grew up in an environment that we learn how to talk, walk, to be educated, and we learn habits. We follow belief systems. We have a religion. We did not choose these. They were, say, hand-me-downs. They were given to us, and we accept it because as children, your mind is not operating. You just follow because you want to please your parents. I would say up to the age of 10 years old, it's very important that the child, they can't help it. It's automatic. It's not, the child does not freely choose, well, I'm going to follow my parents because I realize that if I don't, I'll be rejected and thrown out of the house, kicked out. So I must obey. I'm part of the family. No, the family structure is so important for the development of a child. And just like all animals, there's a period where the child is to be fed as an infant, and as the animal becomes to grow, it learns the techniques of survival. And I think this is what we do as a family, is we learn how to survive. And some individuals and some families do better than others. They become very wealthy, highly educated, become doctors, psychologists, mechanics, scientists, or a hairdresser. I was a hairstylist and a salon owner, and then a real estate agent. But what I'm saying is that we are more than ego. And let's look at this chapter. I published this book by my teacher, the late Gregory Grover. Oh, he helped me grow. He helped me understand what the mind is and understand Spinoza and Gurdjieff. But let's take a look at my teacher's book. And he talks about the tools of self-preservation at a higher level. See, there's the ego, preserve itself, will do whatever it can do to preserve its existence. You know, when we have road rage, the individual who expresses road rage wants something. And if desire is not actualized, and you resist, that individual will explode. And it happens every day, unfortunately. People are killed because of road rage. But what is missing? The individual lives by the ego, because the ego state is a land of survival. It's not a land of understanding. So in my teacher's book, he wants to help us understand the higher level of the mind, beyond the ego intellect. It goes like this. If you are working within yourself to discriminate between your memory patterns and your intelligence. Now, the ego totally relies on memory. You know, when you drive a car, you don't have to remember. You speak a language, you don't have to remember. You learned the alphabet, you learn mathematics. It comes automatic. Everything, after you learn it, It's now stored in the memory. Now remember, I want to emphasize the idea that the brain is not the mind. The brain is a storehouse of information. That's important that we have a memory. That we don't have to try it again, or we can't. As a children, we learn. All right, now, but what is the intelligence? Let's go on. You will see that these memory patterns are not you, but merely tools. Look at that. So I would say the ego is not really you. The ego is a thing that we identify with it, no question. And it has an abundance of tools to help you exist and survive. But we want to do more than just exist and survive. We want to live from a higher level of understanding, experience love within, have our own self-approval, and learn how to love others, and learn how to listen with interest, and have less judgment of ourselves and others. Learn how to communicate with the higher mind of God. This is Spinoza's God, not the Christian God. It's totally different. That's why Einstein said, I believe in Spinoza's God. And Einstein, he grew up from a Jewish background, and so did Spinoza, but they did not follow their dogmatic beliefs. All right. Some of these memory tools are good. For example, where am I? You remember how to speak, walk, drive a car, and so on. These are simple tools that are clear and functional. But the problem of how to relate to ourselves, to relate to others, and find meaningful direction in life requires much more advanced knowledge. Look at that, advanced knowledge beyond the ego state. We're not capable of dealing with life's problems clearly and adequately from memory. Your memory patterns are tools, but your intelligence is you. And this is what my teacher emphasized. I didn't know I had intelligence. I had an intelligence until I met my teacher. That's why I was so depressed, so angry all the time, and so shameful, and so needy, wanting approval from others because I did not lack it, because I lacked self-approval. Now, he says that the idea that it's possible to awaken this intelligence, and that's the work that I do, is how to awaken your mind through the process of journaling, the process of looking at oneself, and how to do that. There's a way to look at oneself without judgment. And that's what I wanted to do. You want to introduce the work that I do. Look at my website. Go on Patreon. Look at other videos. Maybe you can get an insight how to look at yourself. But you may want to directly work with me as your teacher. Give me a call.